Greetings, everybody. This is Omar. I'm here to get a fight prediction for the Wladimir Klitschko versus Anthony Joshua fight, and I'm here with Hall of Famer Sterling McPherson. How you doing, Mr. McPherson?
I'm good. How about you, Mr. Davis? How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing great, sir. I'm doing real great.
Want to
Um,
first want to first say to you, Happy New Year.
I appreciate that. Happy New Year to you too.
We made another one. That's a God's blessing. We made another one.
Exactly, exactly. And starting off the new year, they set up a huge fight, the Klitschko versus Joshua fight. Even though it's in April, that is like a huge fight, and it's predicted to be the biggest fight in Britain ever.
I could see that happening. I could see that happening. And you're talking about Joshua and Klitschko, Wladimir Klitschko. Um, you got a young kid in Joshua, and you got an old guy in Klitschko. You don't have a tremendous amount of skills from Klitschko, and you got a big puncher in Joshua, a big puncher. And to me, the biggest thing in this fight here is how is Joshua gonna approach the crowd, the anticipation of the fight leading up to the fight? Does he dwindle out with a lot of energy, dwindle out a lot of energy preparing for the fight? I'm not talking about the gym and all that. I'm talking about dealing with the press. This is the biggest event that he's going to be involved in his life, and it's going to be huge. And he's got to be able to figure out how to get that rattlesnake off his back and take care of business. He's got to be able to do that. If he can, my honest opinion, I believe if Joshua can get into the fourth or fifth round of this fight, he's on his way to stardom. He's on his way to stardom. He in this last fight, the last fight that he fought, and I saw the fight, he got clipped twice in the fight. He got clipped, I think, in the second or third round of the fight, and then he got clipped in the last round, the round that he actually stopped the guy in. He got clipped in that round too. And he recovered very quickly. I mean, that tells you that he's in great shape. He's in great shape. But he's got to be able to, with Klitschko now, even though Klitschko is not the most skillful guy in the world, he will be able, if he hurts you, he's coming after you because he knows he's an old man and he's got to get you the hell out of there. He's got to clean you up. He's got to get you out of there as fast as he can. But I do, this is a typical. I wouldn't say Tyson when Tyson came along, but he's a typical guy that was fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world, who was a young guy, and it's his turn to be the guy. And you got to get over that hump. You got to get over that hump. And I think he's well prepared in the sense that he's in physically sound condition to do that. Okay, but it's the mind. It's the mind that's going to cover this fight. It's the mind. It's the lead up with all of the press and the Brits, when they come out for a fight, the press, they're far more devastating than they are here in America. They come after you with question after question after question, and they follow you around. So the lead up to the fight is going to put a lot of pressure on Joshua, a
Oh,
tremendous amount of pressure on him.
all right, let me ask you this. Right now, Joshua is 18 and 0 with 18 fights. Do you think he is prepared to face somebody the caliber of Klitschko?
Well, sure, he's ready for that. It's always listen. It's always, does he have the right guy in front of him? It's always, does he have the right guy? If he had Lennox Lewis in front of him and he had 18 fights, hell no. He ain't ready. He's not ready for the fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. He's got the title right now. But
Right.
if he's fighting Lennox Lewis or he was fighting Frank Bruno, you understand? That's a different ball game altogether. He's fighting a not so skilled guy. These guys have been around a long time. The two Klitschko brothers, they've been around a long time. But because you've been around a long time, don't make you skillful. You understand? Doesn't make you
Right.
skillful. They still have a lot of amateurish ways, meaning Klitschko. They have a lot of amateurish ways in their fight process. So my thing is with Joshua, what he's got to get in his mind is that I'm going to go out here and I'm going to take care of this business, and have that one frame of mind that I'm going out here to take care of business. And he's got to be able to keep his hands up and keep away from Klitschko's right hand, because basically that's pretty much what Klitschko brings with him is the overhand right. That's what he brings with him. Okay, he's got
Mm-hmm.
a halfway decent jab. If you sit there and don't do anything, you're not moving your head. And he's got a stiff jab that he can blind you with and hit you with a right hand. So I think that if Joshua comes into this fight with a sound mind, and with the anticipation of going after Klitschko and getting Klitschko out of there, trying to get him out of there as quickly as he can, and not make mistakes in doing it, I think he's a winner.
Okay, and now looking at Klitschko, Klitschko is 64-4, and he's coming off of that loss to Tyson Fury. What did you think about that fight?
Well, again, you had two guys, Klitschko and Tyson, with very minimum skills. That's why Klitschko he got beat by a guy named this guy Tyson Fury with very little skills. That's what I see here. But again, what you're looking at is you're looking at you can't I can't go all the way and say amateurish, but they really look amateurish. They don't
Mm-hmm.
look like they don't look like guys like Tony Tucker, guys like Michael Dokes. Yeah, I mean, real skillful guys. Tyson was fighting skillful people, and Tyson was tenacious because Tyson had a tremendous background. These guys have got European backgrounds in amateurish ways. They never really grow out of that. They really never grow out of
Mm-hmm.
that amateurish style.
Right.
So I looked at the Klitschko and Tyson Fury thing. It's two guys in just watching how they throw punches and how they plant their feet and things like that. It really never impressed me. Yeah, it never really impressed me. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of talk and all of that stuff, all of that goes with it, but there was nothing there to show me that either one of them could really, really fight and control the heavyweight division. And that's why a guy like Joshua at 18 fights is at the top of the heap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you on that. So, with all that being said, who do you think is gonna win the fight, Klitschko or Joshua?
I'm picking Joshua to win the fight. I'm picking Joshua to win the fight. I think that Klitschko's had his day in all of these. We can't even really think about. You can't go into names of fighters that they fought and
Mm-hmm.
say that was a great fight. He was in a great fight. We've never seen him in a great fight. You know what I'm saying to you?
Right.
So I'm gonna pick Joshua to uh, to beat Klitschko in this fight. I think the fight will go 12 rounds because I don't think that Klitschko's one of those guys. He's not a runner, but he's safe. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He plays it real safe. He ain't gonna put himself in real danger to get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? He's not.
Right.
He's not. He's not going for the gusto to get knocked out. But
Mm-hmm.
I think Joshua could do enough, just enough to keep his championship belt.
Okay. And speaking of big fights, out here in Las Vegas, there was a big fight. It was a big disappointment. It was
Oh,
Rousey versus Nunes. And you know what? What's your quick opinion about that fight?
well, you know, I haven't really said this out loud to a lot of people or talked about it, with the MMA because like I always told you, I'm not really that much of a follower of the MMA.
Right.
It was an exciting week coming out here. The whole thing with Ronda Rousey and this girl, the big fight, all of this stuff, the press and all of that stuff coming up. But you know, uh, when you get knocked out, and I've seen this in some women fights before. Uh, they're never the same. They're not like a heavyweight guy who got knocked out in a fight and got like Lennox Lewis. Take for instance Lennox Lewis. He got knocked out by Asim Rahman. He got knocked out by Oliver McCall. But he was better in the second fight because he knew he was better than them. And he either didn't train the right proper way the first time, or he wasn't focused the first time out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it wasn't because he was damaged goods that he couldn't win. It was because he had made mistakes. These girls, women, I'm sorry, I apologize for that. These women, it wasn't the fact that they made mistakes, it was the pressure. And I think the pressure made her collapse. She's training and all that comes with everything, training and doing all of the right things leading up to the fight. But it's the pressure that they're dealing with. And I just didn't feel that she's equipped to deal with this pressure, Ronda Rousey. And it takes a lot to deal with, like for instance, and again, Layla Ali didn't fight a lot of huge fights like they're fighting now in the MMA, Layla Ali. But I can tell you this, she was the most sound professional fighter, women professional fighter I've ever saw. Sound. Whether she was Muhammad Ali's daughter or not, she was sound. She knew how to throw her punches. She knew where to be. She knew what she was doing. She was immaculate. You understand what I'm telling you? She was immaculate. Today, I mean, even though this, and I can't talk about the MMA, how the women do this and how they do that. What I can do is tell you is what I've seen so far in the highlights of these fights. The boxers continue to win these fights. Women boxers. The other girl, Holly Holmes, I think her name was, the first one to beat Rousey.
Right. Yes.
She was far more sound as a boxer than Ronda Rousey was as an MMA person. She was more sound. She was able to stick a jab out. She was able to throw uppercuts and left hooks. And she was hitting Rousey with certain things. And Rousey couldn't get to her to take her down. And what they say in MMA, to take her to the floor. Okay? She wasn't able to get close to her to take her to the floor because her Holly Holmes' boxing ability limited Ronda Rousey from getting to her. And I'm going to suspect that same thing happened in this fight here. The girl took off after her, I'm told, immediately in the first round and went right after Ronda Rousey. And because Ronda Rousey doesn't have a background of boxing to be able to stick a jab out and keep this woman at bay until she got comfortable in the ring, it got away from her. It got away from her and she got clipped. And the next thing you know, she got clipped again and it was over.
Do you think that Rousey is going to retire?
You know, when she sits down and watches this film and this, that, and the other, in the end, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing in a real sense to her as a great athlete. As a great athlete, it's embarrassing to her right now. So she's got to figure out a way that no one wants to go out like this. You know, no one wants to go out right here. So I'm gonna wild guess and tell you that she's probably gonna say or make reference to the fact that she doesn't want to fight anymore. She's had enough of this. But I would suspect that she's gonna come back. And she's got, in a real sense, as a competitor, and most fighters, great, good, bad, whatever you want to call them, they have that competitiveness in them. and they want to show people that this was not her in the ring the last two events. So my guess is that they're going to have to bring her back. But I got to tell you, bringing Ronda Rousey back in the fashion that they brought her back with that type of a fighter is not the kind of way you really want to bring a person back that gets knocked out. You might want to give them a couple of warm-up fights, good fights that pretty much so that she can handle and get used to getting back into the ring. That's what I think whoever's running the shop or whatever and making these matches for her, I think that she was big. Ronda Rousey's a big enough star. She could fight anybody. The people are coming to see Ronda Rousey. You don't have to put a killer in with her.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying to you? You're killing the golden goose by doing that. You bring her back slowly. You bring her back with a couple of women that you pretty much know that she's going to handle. Get her back into the groove again. Get her confidence back. That's what you got to do with people like Ronda Rousey. And if you can do that, if you can get her 3 or 4 fights under her belt, she'll get that tenacity back. She'll get it back. And then you can see, you can put her in with Holly Holmes, you can put her in with this girl she just got beat by, and find out was she really finished.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on your Klitschko and Joshua prediction. I also think Joshua's gonna win, and we'll find out on April 29th in Britain. And I appreciate your time, and I'll definitely be talking to you soon about some more upcoming fights and sports activities.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Looking forward to seeing you again.
All right, talk to
Again,
you
Happy
soon.
New Year. God bless everybody that's watching us, and we look forward to doing it again one day.
All right, take it easy.
You got it.
Bye.